Abhishek sir. Today I will tell you about the topic related to the motion. The topic motion is very much interesting which we undergo when we read in class 6, when we read in 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So the basic thing, what is a motion, we have to first know that. Motion is that we change the position of a object with the time. Now, when we are learning this term motion, the two things come to perspectives. One is the distance and the another is the displacement. Now, what is distance and displacement? And with this distance and displacement, the motion term is very much related. Distance, we know it is if you take 2 points A and B. Now, the total distance from A to B we supposed to take 5 kilometer. Now, on this perspective, if what is displacement? Displacement, that the point from A to B, which is the shortest route, that is from the initial to final, that is known as displacement. Distance can never be negative or zero, it is always a positive. Whereas when we talk of a displacement, there are three scenarios come. One, it is positive. Next, it is negative. And third, it is zero. Now, how to understand this? This can be easily explained with the help of example. We are moving in a opposite direction. So when we are moving against the opposite direction of our path, that time the displacement will be treated as negative. So against the direction means negative. Positive means when you along the direction, along the path of the direction, that is positive. And when zero, if I throw a ball or that ball moves in a circular motion, that means the initial and the final position are same. Then we can term this displacement as zero. So this motion can also be graphically understood. The types of motion comes the next. We have two types of motion. One is uniform and another is the non-uniform. Uniform motion, that is, if we take the concept of graph, when we plot against the distance versus time, displacement versus time, we will be finding when any uniform motion, it follows a straight line. That denotes a uniformity. Non-uniformity means when the line is not straight, it may be a curvilinear. So by plotting in the graph, we can locate its position of the motion of the body, and that can be applicable in your sums, numerical sums. We have the equations of motion. These equations of motion, there are some terms up there. V is equal to u plus at. V means the final velocity, u is the initial velocity, a is the acceleration, and t is the time. So when we plot this, we can get the value of any initial or final velocity according to the question given. Also the equation are v square is equal to u square plus 2s, and it may be also v square is equal to u square minus 2s. It depends. If it is retardation, it will be negative, and if it is along the direction, it will be positive. S is equal to ut plus half at square. This is also one formula which is the part of the equations of motion. S means distance. S also sometimes denote as a height. Now the motion is governed by four things, that is speed, velocity, acceleration and friction. So these things, speed, velocity, acceleration and friction, it's changed the path of the motion. Speed, simple time, we can tell it is distance by time. When we take of the velocity, it is displacement by time. The difference between speed and velocity is one is a scalar quantity and another is a vector where the direction is given, and in case of speed, no specific direction is given. Acceleration means change of velocity in perspective of time. This acceleration can also be negative, which is known as retardation. And finally, friction. Friction is the opposing or the resistive force which is causing opposition, which is causing opposing you, your path. So friction also affects the motion. When, if it is a slippery floor, how we can move? Our motion may be slow, not so fast, because it is a slippery, we can get fall, so our motion is slow. So the friction, it varies according to the surfaces. Now, from this motion concept, we know the Newton's three laws are there. So in these three laws of motion, a force plays a part. So with the application of force, the motion's dimensions get changes. Newton's first law, we have heard from the beginning that everybody continue to be rest in a state of rest or motion unless any outside force or external force applied on it to change it. We know that. But in this thing of the first law, two things are very important. One is the balanced and the unbalanced force, and another the concept of inertia. So this which we read in the higher classes. So the balanced and unbalanced force is related to the Newton's law. When in a tug of war, there in the both side, there are persons are there, equal person in the both side in a tug of war. So there is a balanced force. When you keep a book in a table, there is a balanced force. Unbalanced, if in a tug of war, right side has 3 people and the left side has 2 people. So there is no equality. That means it creates an unbalanced force. Now, the concept of inertia is that inertia changes the position of rest or motion. So if a body is at rest, it will continue to be in rest. Or if a body is motion, it will continue to be in motion. And also there is inertia of direction when a raindrop falls. Inertia of rest when a fruit falls from the tree. It is the tendency of inertia rates that the fruit wants to stay within the tree. But when you jerk, it falls down. Inertia of motion is that when we are paddling a cycle, what we do after we stop paddling, the cycle still continue due to motion. So with going with the applications of the examples, it will be very easy. Newton's second law is related to the momentum, basically linear momentum. There is two type of momentum, linear and angular are there. And the third law is the equivalent action force, which we can give with the example of the bullet which we fire. There is an action force and there is a reaction force, which is the recoil, and the action force is given by the bullet. So this is in a gist about the motion. Hope you like it. Thank you very much.